On this week's show, the dawn of X, Star Wars ends, and comics' toughest characters. It's Previews World Weekly, and it's happening right now. Previews World, it's Wednesday, it's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen, and it's not a figment of your imagination. We've got Anna Mia hanging out with us today.
Hey guys.
What's up, Mia?
Not much, how are you?
Welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here, this is exciting.
I kind of feel like this is a little overdue, actually. Like, you could have done this a while ago, right? Yeah, this is actually, I think this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, speaking of things to be excited about, new catalog is out this week. You have a new opportunity to pre-order things at your local comic book store, and we have on the front cover, Vampirella. And then on the back cover, we have this book called Dying Easy, which is actually from Joe Hill. And it's actually really interesting because it's about a comedian who steals jokes, which is like a big no-no in the comedy world.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And so I think someone's put out a hit for him because he stole a joke from them. So it's kind of like a crime thing that they're doing there. Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting.
That's awesome. And Joe Hill does a lot of horror stuff because his dad's Stephen King, so it's like, this is perfect.
It's absolutely perfect. Yeah, exactly. So like a nice little bit of turnabout. But I was actually curious about something because I've been meaning to ask you about this for a long time. Because you didn't know your heroes video for us, which was featuring Vampirella.
Yep.
And at some point in time during putting that video together, I think it dawned on one of us that oh wait, you did a cover for Vampirella.
I did.
Right, and so how did you get that? How did that come about? I've always been curious about that. Did they just tap cosplayers or?
Dynamite actually is really cool about how they like to feature cosplayers on the cover of their comics. So Red Sonja they do it for, Sheena, Vampirella, and so they contacted me and asked if I would like to do a Vampirella cover since they'd seen my Vampirella cosplay, and that's how it happened.
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Truthfully, I think it's the most popular video on our page,
thanks, guys.
on our YouTube. I think a lot of it has to do with, the cover. That's quite honest.
Well, it has to do with Vampirella.
It has a lot to do with Vampirella, too. The timing of it was actually pretty good because it was it was the 50th anniversary of her. We put out that Know Your Heroes video, kind of help people play catch up. And then on top of that, yes.
It's been a huge year for Vampirella, actually.
It has. And I actually think that one of the reasons she's on the cover this month, because normally we don't do put a non-number one on the cover, because this is I think Vampirella number 6, I believe.
Yep.
But it's part of the reason is that it's a Stanley Artgerm cover. Everybody loves Stanley Artgerm. But on top of that, it's also a continuation of her 50th anniversary. So, it's a good opportunity. Definitely check it out. But I also want to give a shout out to, we're doing a contest right now on our website. If you're catching, if you're catching this on Wednesday, there's a show called Stumptown. It's coming on TV tonight at 10 p.m. and we're running a contest because Stumptown is actually based off of a comic book. Actually, it's based off a comic by Greg Rucka and Matthew Southworth. So if you get a chance, be sure to participate. If you're looking forward to the show, be sure to catch it and just check out our timeline. We're going to be posting about it all day because I don't think a lot of people know that that's based on a comic book.
No.
It's Kobe
That's
Smulders and it's on ABC.
Ooh,
so,
okay. I got to tune in now.
Yeah, right? There you go. Oh, you like Kobe Smulders?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was it How You Met Your Mother? And
well, it started with that and then, on to Marvel.
Into Marvel, yeah. I think it was about Marvels when I started. It was Kobe Smulders. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, she's more than the girl at the mall.
Right. So, all right, what's a comic shop's time? And this is going to be a little awkward because you're here, but we're about to show you again.
I'm everywhere.
So here's Mia from the past telling you about what's at comic shops today. Check it out.
What's up, Previews World? Mia here, and I'm going to give you a look at some of the new titles in stores this week. Here's what's at comic shops for the week of September 25th, 2019. Is that it? No way! Your comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and we'll see you back here next week.
And that's just a taste of the new comics that are out today, so make sure to head on over to previewsworld.com/new releases to find out more. And so what are you looking forward to, Troy?
I've picked this like every single week. But actually, it's Powers of X, and like issue number 5 is out this week. But I wanted to point out something, because I was thinking about this the other day. I kind of feel like nerds get a bad rep. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times the cliche is that like they hate change, right? And I mean, there's some valid arguments for that. But Jonathan Hickman on this book is changing so much about the X-Men, and no one's complaining about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And part of the thing that's really cool about it, part of the change, because I think I can give away some of this now. I've been kind of trying not to say too much about the plot, but Moira McTaggart, she's been an ongoing character. She's been in the movies, like, you know, she's played by Rose Byrne in the movies, but she's been in the comics for quite a while. She died like in the late 90s, and so she's always been the human in the mix of mutants, right? Well, it turns out that she is a mutant. And so part of her job, part of her power is that she reincarnates. She comes back, she dies. So she came back eventually and went back to Charles Xavier in the past. And her whole thing is like, we need to reassess your dream because it's not working. And so Charles kind of creates a safe haven for mutants. And the last book was really interesting because he's opened up the doors of what is Krakoa, like to all the mutants in the world. And then in the last issue that came out last week, Mr. Sinister walked through that door, Apocalypse walked through that door, and a lot of stuff is changing in this comic. And I think it's really interesting that like how they're kind of progressing the X-Men, like they're taking them to a next level, which is really cool.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a fun book, and it's actually really unpredictable. X-Men are kind of scary. So like, yeah, it's a cool one. If you're not reading it by now, you probably should be reading it by now.
Heard a lot of good stuff about it. So
Yeah, it's a fun one. What are you looking forward to this week?
my big thing is Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance. I've been watching the Netflix show, and I'm a big fan of the original movie. And so what's cool is this is the origin story of kind of how we got to where we were in the Dark Crystal movie. So it's what happened to the Gelflings and how did the Skeksis really come into power and kind of, create their own kind of, ruling over all of Thra. And it's got great new characters. My favorite is Hup, who's a little podling that just wants to be a knight. He wants to be a paladin. He's so cute and brave and sweet. And so I've just kind of gone into this rabbit hole of the lore because it's almost 1,000 years of history in between. So it's really cool to see how the whole world of Thra has evolved.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I know that, I know that Boom Studios has been doing the Dark Crystal ones for a while, but it's kind of cool that they're able to tie into the Netflix movie and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and you're fleshing it out more in the storyline and in the comics, so you're getting so much more of that history that you're not able to get in just that TV show. Right. Or
even just one movie from the 80s. Like, there's so much more story to tell, so yeah, that's freaking awesome. Actually, also, I think that was, Thea's a big Dark Crystal fan too, so.
Oh, yay.
So you're honoring her presence,
spirit,
right? Yeah, exactly. Also out this week, something I'm always looking forward to. I pick it up every single month. Deadly Class, issue number 40 is out this week. And there's a new story arc called Bone Machine. But selfishly, since I don't necessarily know what this story arc is going to entail just yet because it came out today, I am going to point out that I'm doing a Deadly Class Get Graphic. And where I'm just, our Get Graphic series is kind of always about just letting you know about some of the modern classics that are in the world of comics right now. And it also happens that I talked to Wes Craig, who's the artist of Deadly Class, so he's going to do a little thing for us in the near future.
Cool.
So yeah, like I'm fanboying big time this week. Like I've been a big fan of Deadly Class. Never saw the TV show actually. I know Johnny saw the show.
It's really good.
What's wrong with you?
Well, it's canceled now.
It's so good.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Yeah, well, see, I'm out of the loop, but I also didn't have sci-fi, so that's kind of part of the problem.
True.
So, but yeah, it's a really good one, and like it's been consistently great, and like just unpredictable and wild, and just mean.
Yeah.
All at the same time, so it's perfect for me, I guess. What else can people look forward to? What else are you picking this week?
My other pick is Paper Girls. The trade paperback number 6 is out.
Nice.
I read a lot of trade paperbacks because I like to go through them really fast, and so I'm excited for the next one to come out because I'm excited for the next part of the story. Yeah. Really cool concept. It's girls who are paper girls in the start, but then things start happening, and there's a lot of WTH moments where all of a sudden there's time travel and robots and the neighborhood is just getting torn to bits and pieces, and you have these girls trying to keep it all together. So really kind of fun.
I think we were talking about this off camera actually. Like it's kind of, I feel like that book came out before Stranger Things, but there's some Stranger Things vibes in that book. Yeah, so
it's like this group of friends, and you were mentioning the bikes and
the
everything.
bicycles and everything, right?
So yeah, it's a kind of a fun, childhood coming of age while things are going crazy and the world's breaking down. So
yeah. And also Brian K. Vaughan, great writer,
of
done a lot of
course.
fun stuff. So. Some big ticket items for people to look forward to this week. Batman Superman #2 by Joshua Williams and David Marquise. If you've been following this, they're doing the whole Batman Who Laughs is coming into the DC universe proper, and he's bringing his infection across the DC universe. They did a pretty cool thing recently where Shazam became infected and pretty much just owned Batman and Superman. Which is
that's pretty cool.
That's actually pretty cool, right? And it's a little terrifying when you're like, you're just sort of like, oh my god, like they're getting rocked. But yeah, if you're excited for that, definitely check that out. This is the second issue, and actually #1 should also be in stores. Also, I actually was very curious about this when I heard it was announced. There's a book called Strike Force out this week, and it's from Marvel. I am a default Blade fan. Like anything with Blade, I'm like, yes. I want to read it. I want to know more about it. Just give me more Blade. And he's been tragically absent from a lot of Marvel books in the last couple of years. So I'm glad to see him here. And the cool thing about this is Tini Howard is German Peralta. And Blade is the leader of this ragtag group of I want to say mostly occultists or magical, mystical characters. And they're trying to face something that the Avengers can't face. Like the normal superheroes in the Marvel universe can't face. So they're kind of like, they're a strike force. So
that's awesome. Perfect in time for like Halloween and that spooky
it is,
kind
right.
of thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Actually, the timing about that is very suspect. You're right about that.
I like it though. It's perfect. No, it's perfect.
Absolutely perfect. So I mentioned Powers of X earlier today. That was one of my picks this week. It just so happens that we have a trailer for Dawn of X.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is ultimately where the Hickman run on X-Men is going. And so I haven't watched it. I've stayed away from it because I don't like spoilers. But we're going to show it to you. So turn away if you don't want to know. Actually, stay here because we'll be right back in a second. But check this out. Dawn of X. And that was Dawn of X from Marvel Comics, hitting comic shops this October. Like I said, I'm staying away from any spoilers. I'm just one of those people. I'm not big on finding out too much about anything, even if it's just the most basic details about it. I'm like, we're knee deep in this story. I just want to ride it out and see what happens.
There you go.
It's a fun one though, and it's been a lot of fun. But now it's time.
Spoilers. It has words and pictures.
Okay, yeah, good point. Good
Johnny
point. And
with
it has the
spoilers.
X-Men, right? Even the cover's a spoiler. That's kind of the problem because they did something in the last issue of Powers of X was like, oh wait, but these characters are on the cover for the next book. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone.
It's like when the toys come out early and you're
right.
like, no.
Yeah, a little bit. Exactly. But it is time for news. So Mia's going to look into the future and tell you about everything that's happened in the world of comics, but the things that have happened in the last 7 days. Check it out.
Starting this December, a terrifying new series will once again pit the iconic aliens and predators against each other. From Dark Horse Comics comes Alien vs. Predator Thicker Than Blood, written by Jeremy Barlow, illustrated by Doug Wheatley, and lettered by Michael Heisler, with the cover illustration by Chun Lo. Alien vs. Predator Thicker Than Blood kicks off when predators board a luxury charter spaceship, unleashing a path of terror and bloodshed. An adolescent girl and her younger brother are the last to survive and begin a cat-and-mouse chase with the attackers. They hope for an escape, but they haven't counted on the alien. Alien vs. Predator Thicker Than Blood #1 of 4 goes on sale December 11th, 2019, and will be available for pre-order at your local comic shop when the October Previews catalog launches on September 25th.
Which is today.
Which is
so
today.
There you go. I hate how much of a sucker I am for anything AVP.
It's so good.
It's so good. Like anything Aliens or Predator, I'm gonna watch it.
It just has such a really long history. Like I love things with a long history that you can delve into.
Right,
so.
right. You were saying earlier, the lore.
Yeah, the
there
lore.
There you go.
All the excitement and celebration surrounding Batman Day and the Dark Knight's 80th anniversary received an added boost of adrenaline as a new creative team was announced for DC's best-selling Batman comic book. During a book signing and panel discussion at New York's Barnes & Noble Union Square, DC publisher Dan Didio revealed to fans in attendance that in January 2020, the new ongoing team for Batman will feature New York Times best-selling writer James Tynion, penciler and main cover artist Tony S. Daniel, inker Danny Miki, and colorist Tomeo More. Tynion is no stranger to the world of the Dark Knight, having thrilled fans with his work on series such as Detective Comics, Batman Eternal, in addition to Batman and Robin Eternal, and is eager to continue in the tradition of great modern Batman storytellers like Scott Snyder and Tom King. For the last 10 years, penciler Daniel and colorist More have been a formidable art team, especially when it comes to Batman. The team launched the City of Bane story arc with writer Tom King, which concludes in December. Tynion, Daniel, Mickey, and Mori make their debut with issue number 86 of Batman on sale January 8th, 2020.
Tynion, Daniel, Mickey, and more. Sounds like a boy band or something.
Right? It's like the next Beatles.
There you go.
Right? It could be. I think it's going to be a great team.
It could be. No, it actually has potential. I actually got to talk to James Tynion. Did like a little 30-minute, 40-minute interview with him. Like it's on our YouTube channel, and like he just talks about like some of his indie work. He talks a lot about his DC work. But then I kind of suspect during the interview, like he got a phone call, and like he wouldn't tell us what it was, but he was really excited about it. And I wonder if this was what that was.
You were there when it happened.
There when it happened. And I should have asked him, like, can we get an exclusive? No. He wouldn't do it.
Now I want to go watch this interview.
Yeah, there you go. It's right there in the video. He's like, oh, I got really good news. I can't tell you about it.
Okay, go watch the YouTube video.
Yeah, go watch it.
Dynamite formally announces a new ongoing series and new missions for 007 himself in James Bond starting this December. Writing partners Vita Ayala and Danny Lore assemble their squad to craft an initial arc dealing with the high-stakes world of art forgery. Fan favorite Eric Gapster returns on art, following contributions to Greg Pak's James Bond 007 series. To match a straightforward title of simply James Bond, the series will feature just one cover per issue, and the star of the show is the legendary James Chung. Furthermore, he's contributing 3 connecting covers.
Nice. I'm a big fan of James Chung. Like he's been a Marvel guy for a long time, and I guess now in the last couple of years, he's been doing other stuff, and that cover looks dynamite.
I'm excited. I love like connecting covers and kind of things that like add up to something big. I just love it.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know if we gave Johnny the image, but there's a sketch of what the connecting cover is going to look like down the line. So
nice.
If not, we'll throw it up on screen. If we do have it, we'll throw it up on screen. So cool.
Very cool. DC is making the move to push the new Birds of Prey into DC Black Label, the perfect place for its hard-hitting storyline by writer Brian Azzarello and artist Emanuela Lupacchino. Birds of Prey number 1 and 2 will be resolicited as an upscale Black Label project timed to the upcoming Warner Brothers movie Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, with a new cover by Ivan Reis and Joe Prado.
Nice. We were speculating, earlier in the week I was talking to people at work, and then we were speculating, like, why did they move it to the Black Label? So there's a rumor going around that, like, the Joker movie is going to be the first in a series of DC Black movies, like kind of out of continuity, darker, edgier sort of thing.
Like that high end, like they were saying.
Yeah, so, and I think that this is kind of like, the fact that it's Brian Azzarello, first of all, because Azzarello does some pretty edgy stuff on top of that. He was the reason we had Batwang last year.
Oh! Now I knew that sounded familiar.
There you go, right. But he's on it, so that there's a good chance that it's probably going to be a little bit darker. May not be exactly like the upcoming Birds of Prey movie. I doubt it, but yeah, I'm very curious about that.
That'll be interesting to look at.
It will be, yeah.
While Star Wars number 75 will be the final issue of the current ongoing Star Wars comic series, the storyline will come to a succinct and complete close in December with the release of the Star Wars Empire Ascendant one-shot. According to a blog post on StarWars.com, the one-shot will see the Rebel Alliance, Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, and Han Solo among them, building up Echo Base on the ice planet of Hoth while Darth Vader tries to locate the headquarters in vain. In addition, fans can look forward to discovering the fates of Dr. Aphra and Bylurt Valance. Given that the current Star Wars comic continuity takes place between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, it's fitting that the story will come to a close on Hoth, setting the stage for the events of Episode 5. After 4 years of canon comics, it all comes down to one epic one-shot. Star Wars Empire Ascendant is available to pre-order now at your local comic shop and is slated to hit shelves on December 18th.
Nice. I think it's really interesting that they said canon comics, because there's been a lot of speculation whether or not these things matter at all into the larger canon. Like we had the EU before that, and then the new movies started coming around, and Disney was like, no, not so much that. So very curious about like this. Also, that stretch between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back is literally like probably the only thing I ever care about in regards to Star Wars.
Yeah, so this is super exciting.
This is very exciting, exactly, right, yeah. And see Hoth getting built and like all that stuff. That's freaking awesome. I love that. But now it's time for toys. So Natasha's here, and she's going to show us some of the toys that are available at your local comic shop this week. And then when we come back, we might have a prize for you. Check it out.
Hey Previews World! Here's this week's rundown of some of the toys, statues, and collectibles hitting store shelves for the first time. Let's take a look inside the Previews toy chest for the week of September 25th, 2019. Want to see more? Be sure to check out Talking Toys, our weekly show that spotlights new collectibles on their way to your friendly local comic shop. Just head over to previewsworld.com/talkingtoys to find out more.
And if you're looking for more, head on over to previewsworld.com/toychest for more. And I got to point out that Batman is actually pretty cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. It's very statuesque.
It is, absolutely.
Very, very Lincoln Memorial.
Right, yeah,
That's what I was saying.
No, yeah. It's like when you said that earlier, I was like, it didn't occur to me until after you said it. I was like, actually, yeah, it is kind of like the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, it's very stoic.
It is,
Batman Day.
And I love, it's the Mark Silvestri, which looks amazing. So, but we do have a contest this week. So what do we have?
We have this epic Captain Marvel statue.
Nice.
She is so cool. You've got different faces that you can put on her. You've got Goose, your little Flurkin.
Of course.
So super excited about this. And in order to enter to win, wherever you're watching this on, go to the comments section and you're going to answer the question, what comic story are you wanting to see adapted into Captain Marvel 2? So put that into the comments below wherever you're watching this, and we will pick the winner on Wednesday of next week.
Next week, yeah. And I will give emphasis to anybody who says Rogue.
There you go.
Anything involving Rogue taking her powers. It might be a little too far away from that right now with the X-Men not quite in the Marvel universe just yet.
Maybe one day.
But maybe one day. I guess we should give Captain Marvel some time before she goes into a coma, right?
Yeah, gotta have that little story arc.
Right, exactly. But we do have a winner this week.
We do.
Yeah.
So last week we asked you guys, is Harley Quinn a hero or a villain? And the winner of the Harley Quinn PVC statue from Suicide Squad is Mutant Revolution. And she said, Harley is a hero, she's just misunderstood, and she'll tell you herself.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's actually pretty accurate, actually.
Yeah, I think that's actually what Harley would say.
Right, yeah. Like, the ongoing debate, I think especially after the Suicide Squad movie, has been kind of like, she's taking the forefront in a lot of things. And like, it's like, is she a bad guy now or a good guy? And I think, she's kind of an anti-hero. I think that's fair.
Kind of how you look at it, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, that's how it is, right? Like nobody, I was reading a quote the other day, nobody actually thinks they're the villain.
That's true, that's so true, right?
So that's absolutely perfect. But now, we're kind of spoiled this week. We got twice as much Natasha and three times as much anime, I want to say. So Natasha's here. And so we did a video just this past week, which was a new Know Your Heroes. We were talking about the Vampirella one you did. Well, every month we do one. And this one is Comics' Toughest Characters. And this was a lot of fun to put together. So check this out. See if one of your favorites made the list. Comics' Toughest Characters.
They laugh in the face of danger and are tougher than a Denny steak. Who am I talking about? Keep watching. These are toughest characters in comics. So what defines tough? Well, for the sake of argument, we're going to highlight characters that take a beating but keep on fighting. Here are 5 characters that don't know the meaning of quit, with a few examples. Batman. Okay, we know everyone thinks Batman is tough. I know I do, and it's almost cliche to include him on this list, but you'll never accuse Batman of being not tough on crime. And crime loves to push Batman to the limit. For example, in Batman Hush, the Dark Knight has his Batarang cord cut and plummets several stories to the ground, fracturing his skull. Did that stop him? No. Or how about Batman The Dark Knight Returns, when he fought the mutant gang leader in a brutal lumberjack-style hand-to-hand brawl in the mud. And then he fought Superman. For our money though, the Caped Crusader's toughest moment stems from Batman Nightfall. The Dark Knight famously got his back broken by Bane and was forced to let someone else take up the mantle, Azrael. Until Batman finds out that Azrael's tactics are completely unsavory, Bruce knuckles up, trains his body, and gets back on the job. As for Azrael, he has to bend the knee and acknowledge there can be only one Batman. Marv. Now we go from the world's greatest detective to one of the worst. But Sin City's Marv doesn't need smarts because his hide is as tough as a tank. In The Last Goodbye, Marv's tough guy points start almost immediately. In the first few pages, he rumbles with Sin City PD, taking a bullet to the shoulder, then escapes by jumping out a window and drop-kicking a police cruiser's windshield. After all that, he still has the energy to scale buildings, torture scumbags, and fight a dog. Why go through all this? Because he's supposedly in love with a woman named Goldie, who hits him with the car 3 times and shoots him. I don't think that's love. Spider-Man. Comic fans already know that Peter Parker is the Marvel Universe's punching bag. I mean, the kid just can't catch a break. But when you factor in his alter ego Spider-Man, you have to wonder why he doesn't just quit. For example, one of Spider-Man's most famous moments happens early in his career during the 4-part Master Planner story arc. In an emotionally charged moment, Spider-Man is defeated by Dr. Octopus and left for dead, buried under tons of rubble and machinery. It's not dying that terrifies Peter in the moment, but the people he'll leave behind, specifically his ailing Aunt May. That's enough motivation for the teenager rookie to sack up and lift tons of debris off of him, proving that Spider-Man is just as powerful as he is responsible. Street Angel. They call Jessie Sanchez the Princess of Poverty. They also call her the deadliest girl alive, but you can call her Street Angel. Jessie was raised on the streets where she roams around looking for food and ninjas. What she finds are not just ninjas, but corporate ninjas, robot ninjas, street-level ninjas, hacker ninjas, and so much more. And that's just fine, because Jessie was the lone survivor of a ninja attack on her family, so she'll take on any onslaught you throw at her, with her skateboard as her only weapon and an empty stomach as her motivation. Goku. Yeah, I know, he got killed in Dragon Ball Super after one punch, but he came back. Besides, how many legendary fights has Goku been in before that? Talking about his fight against Vegeta during the Babidi Saga, his seemingly endless battle against Frieza during the Frieza Saga, or his own fights with Broly, Goku has received more punishment than Frank Castle reading 50 Shades of Grey. Did that disturb you? No? Good, because there are so many tough characters to highlight. We'll continue this list in a future installment of Know Your Heroes. In the meantime, tell us below who else should be on the list. And if you need to research, then head on over to your local comic shop to find out more.
And that was Know Your Heroes, which I mentioned before is a monthly series that we do. And like, we try to unpack the key moments of the heroes or villains or, like we mentioned earlier, anti-heroes in the comics world. And, just kind of put you onto some books that you might like to read and pick up. And actually, we noted in the video, this is part 1 because you're doing comic stuff as characters. Look, I worked at a comic book store. I know how these conversations go. You could spiral forever. So we're going to do more of these in the future. So if you're watching this, be sure to let us know who do you think should make the list of comic stuff as characters, because I figured there's like some obvious picks in that list. So definitely check that out. And it just so happens that Batman was on that one. So we have Comic Shop Shout Out this week. Who is our Comic Shop Shout Out?
So actually this week we're doing things a little bit different for the Comic Shop Shout Out. We're actually going to be highlighting Batman Day celebrated worldwide.
Yeah, no, it's a cool one. Like they do this every year, but I think this was the first time I got a real chance to kind of like check out like some of the different events around the world. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you guys a video that DC produced, which is them celebrating Batman. I think it's like in Mexico City, Los Angeles, like New York, and a bunch of other places. But then on top of that, we'll leave you some images as well, like we normally do for our Comic Shop shout out. So definitely check that out. And stay tuned to Batman Day next year, because like they're probably going to do it again next year.
Get involved.
This was the big one though, because this was Batman's 80th anniversary. So you might have missed out on some really cool stuff, but you will do it again. Also, I wanted to point out, Johnny noted we were looking at the video earlier, Johnny noted that the Batman marathon, he was surprised by that, but there's actually, I think it's still on Netflix, there's a documentary about this kid who, he was like, his last wish, one of his last wishes was to like be Batman for a day or meet Batman for a day or something like that. And they did this whole thing where like they pretty much turned the city into like a little obstacle course for him. Yeah, right. So
You're gonna make me cry on camera. Don't do it. Oh.
So, and I think ever since then they've started doing the marathon after that because of the. So yeah, if you get a chance.
The power of Batman.
Right, through the power of Batman. Right.
That's so sweet. That really is. You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, if you don't want to cry, don't watch the documentary because I think it's on Netflix and like it'll get you
I'm
right
still
here.
gonna watch it now. Just have tissues.
Right, there you go. But that is it for this week. Anna Mia, thank you very much for helping us out here.
Thank you for having me, guys. This has been fun.
No, it has been fun. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Mia.
And we'll see you guys at the Spinner Rack.
See ya.
Happy 80th anniversary, Batman!
Thanks for watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.